The film begins in 1937 at a high school. At that time, there's a girl named Ludmila who just got accepted to study history at Kiev University in Ukraine because she's really smart. The next day, Ludmila and her friends want to go out, but they can't decide where. So they flip a coin and decide to go to a shooting range. At that time, Ludmila wants to join in, even though usually only guys do this. The instructor there gives them all guns and some bullets, and teaches Ludmila how to shoot. After they all shoot, they have to say their family names. The instructor checks the targets, and Ludmila did the best, even though her friends didn't think she could. Then, one friend complains and asks the instructor to check again, but the instructor just tells them to look at the targets themselves if they don't believe it. Long story short, while Ludmila was studying, she got called by the chancellor and was told to pack her things. It turned out that an officer noticed her talent for shooting, thanks to a report from her instructor. So, Ludmila got the chance to train as a sniper for 6 months and then go back to college. Upon hearing that, Ludmila decided to take the offer. Before leaving, she said goodbye to her parents. During training, she faced tough challenges, just like everyone else, because they were all being trained to become skilled snipers. But their training got cut short because on June 19, 1941, Nazi German troops invaded the Soviet Union. So, their training was rushed, and those who passed the test were sent straight to the battlefield. At that time, Ludmila was sent as a sniper to defend the city of Odessa. Her commander, Makarov, told her to target the enemy commander as her main goal. He also told her a way to take down an enemy tank by shooting the driver's window 3 times to hit the fuel tank. But then the Nazi troops attacked by air with bombers, followed by ground troops. In a tough situation, Ludmila went along the trench to find weapons left by fallen soldiers. When she found them, she aimed at the window of the attacking tank. With help from Makarov, she managed to destroy the tank. Then she hesitated to shoot a Nazi commander. Ludmila felt unsure because she had never shot a person before, but when she saw her colleague covered in blood, she decided to shoot the enemy commander. Her shot made the enemy retreat. Soon after, Captain Makarov gave Ludmila vodka to help her cope with the stress. Later, her success in destroying the tank was praised by Major General Petrov. He awarded her with an automatic rifle. At that time, Ludmila promised in front of everyone that she wouldn't show mercy to the enemy and would use her rifle to fight hundreds of German soldiers. Later on, Makarov taught Ludmila how to take apart his rifle so she could learn about it. That night, Makarov shared a story about how he once killed 3 enemies with just 1 shot during a war in Finland. Upon hearing that, Ludmila admired him even more. The next day, Makarov couldn't find Ludmila at her post. Soon, a colleague reported that she was near enemy troops, trying to shoot multiple soldiers at once. This was very risky, so Makarov ordered her back and even threatened to take her to a military court if she did it again. In the evening, a messenger came with orders for a new assignment. When Ludmila approached Makarov, hoping to express her feelings for him, he rejected her. Makarov had made a promise to himself not to fall in love during wartime. The next day, on the battlefield, Ludmila is still upset with Makarov because he didn't accept her love. Makarov finally explained why he couldn't accept her feelings. He didn't want to face the painful reality of losing someone he loves in war. There, Ludmila confidently told Makarov that they had to make sure nobody could harm them. Suddenly, there was a huge explosion that injured both Makarov and Ludmila. Thankfully, Makarov was okay, but Ludmila was hurt badly. She was taken to a tent for medical help, where Dr. Boris, who was almost her fiancé, took care of her. Makarov also tried to comfort Ludmila by staying with her. Seeing this, Boris became jealous because he still loved Ludmila. In the past, Ludmila was engaged to Boris, but she broke it off because she had to go for sniper training. Sometime later, there was a big evacuation from the city of Sevastopol, which is on the Crimean Peninsula. The city was under attack by Nazi German troops, so the Red Army soldiers left on their warships. But on their way, enemy planes attacked their ships. During the chaos in Sevastopol, Ludmila went to General Evans and asked him to sign her health report so she could join the war. But the general said only doctors could give permission. So Ludmila reluctantly went to Boris, hoping he'd sign it. But Boris refused because she hadn't fully recovered. Shortly after, Ludmila heard that the soldiers from the front line had returned. She waited on the roadside, hoping to see Makarov. Then someone called her name, and it was Makarov. He gave his rifle to Ludmila unexpectedly. Learning about Captain Makarov's death saddened Ludmila deeply. Her hands shook as she held his rifle. She turned to Boris with tears in her eyes. Hearing about Makarov's death, Boris reluctantly signed Ludmila's health report. In the new mission, Ludmila met Captain Leonid, who took over Makarov's position as the leader of the troops. The next day, Ludmila and Leonid were targeting enemy soldiers, but Ludmila acted differently this time. She purposely shot the enemies in their legs and arms to cause them pain. Seeing this, Leonid immediately killed the soldier to end their suffering. Ludmila was annoyed because she wanted them to suffer before dying. But Leonid advised her, saying that war isn't just about death cause there's still life for those who survive, and that life shouldn't be focused only on revenge. At night, Ludmila and Leonid were given a risky mission to face enemy snipers. Luckily, Ludmila was always dependable in every mission because she could handle tough terrain and snowy conditions. As time passed, Ludmila's precise shots continued to take down enemy troops without mercy. This eventually forced the Nazi troops to retreat from Sevastopol. To celebrate their success, the Soviet troops threw a party. There, Ludmila introduced Boris to Leonid and left them alone. Boris shared with Leonid about his past relationship with Ludmila and how he still loved her. During the party, Ludmila got into an argument with another soldier. Soon after, Leonid intervened and fought the soldier. The commander stopped the fight, and then Leonid spontaneously kissed Ludmila. Long story short, Ludmila and Leonid started dating and spent a lot of time together, even between missions. They joked around and enjoyed each other's company, despite the seriousness of the war. One day, Ludmila and Leonid were walking in a plantation area when Leonid stepped on a minefield. They ran as fast as they could to avoid the explosion, but it was too fast. Ludmila fell, and Leonid shielded her from the blast. Sadly, Leonid got badly hurt by the explosion. At that time, Ludmila tried to help him, but his injuries were severe. When they reached the troops, they got help, but it was too late. Ludmila had to face losing someone she loved again. When Ludmila woke up, Boris was there taking care of her. He regretted letting her join the war. While they were being treated, an officer came with orders for Ludmila to go back to duty because the Germans thought she was dead. She had to go back to the battlefield, even though she wasn't fully healed. Then Ludmila put on her uniform and prepared to face Germany's top sniper. According to intelligence reports, enemy snipers were scouting in the Sevastopol Square area. When Ludmila heard this, she didn't hesitate and went there right away. She hid among the rocks for over 24 hours, but then she felt pain in her back. Turns out her wound had reopened and was bleeding again. Despite this, she couldn't stay hidden anymore, so she came out when she spotted an enemy sniper. At the same time, the enemy sniper noticed Ludmila too, and they started shooting at each other. Luckily, Ludmila got shot in the chest, but managed to hit the enemy sniper and kill him. Back at headquarters, Boris asked Major General Evans to evacuate Ludmila because she had been injured 4 times already. At first, Evans refused because Ludmila was crucial to their troops. She had taken out many German soldiers. Boris felt that Evans was sacrificing Ludmila intentionally. Eventually, Evans agreed to let Boris evacuate her. But when they reached the dock, there was chaos as refugees rushed onto the ship. Boris suggested they take a boat to a refugee camp instead. But he secretly decided to stay in Sevastopol and promised to catch up with Ludmila later. Long story short, after being defended for 250 days, Sevastopol was taken over by German troops. What happened to Boris, the 80,000 residents, and the surviving Red Army soldiers is uncertain. They may have been captured or sentenced to death. But one thing we know for sure is that Boris saved Ludmila's life. A year later, at a meeting of First Ladies in America, Eleanor talked to Soviet Union student soldiers about their accomplishments. She was impressed by their skills, but she was especially amazed when she met Ludmila. Back then, Ludmila confidently announced that she was a sniper and had taken down 309 Nazi soldiers. Suddenly, everyone at the White House turned their attention to her, bombarding her with questions while she carried out her duties. The next day, Ludmila was called to a press conference where she declared that she was 25 years old and had killed 309 fascist soldiers. She felt that the audience had been hiding during the war for too long. Eventually, Ludmila was appointed as an instructor in sniper education. After the war, she continued her studies and was honored with the title of hero. Skipping ahead 17 years to 1957, Eleanor met Ludmila again, now with her son. Ludmila proudly wore the honorary star badge she earned in the Soviet Union for her service on the battlefield. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is when life throws you a minefield, make sure your love life doesn't explode like one. And remember, even if you're a sniper, it's always safer to aim for hearts, not minds.